Hi, this is Marianne with Higher Vibration, where we talk about all things related to mind, body, and spirit. Today, I wanted to take time to talk about listening to your own voice, because I think it's an extremely important topic that doesn't really get discussed very much. We're always searching for answers outside of ourselves. We're scrolling on social media, we're looking up different YouTube videos, we're reading different books. We're constantly looking for information exterior to our inner selves. And while I think it's a wonderful thing that we have that ability, that we have that at our fingertips where we can research anything and get any kind of factual information, I think knowledge is power. Truthfully, it is. But what's the most important thing, and even more powerful than the knowledge itself, is how you use it. And in order to use it, you have to take the time to synthesize it and take it and you bring it into yourself and allow your higher self to give you direction on how to use that information. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that and how we can become better at that. Briefly, and very briefly, because there are tons of videos out there that talk about social media, and scrolling and all of that. But very briefly, I just wanted to talk about the fact that scrolling can become addictive, which we know. And the endless scrolling can really barrage our tender minds and psyches with a cacophony of voices that are just telling us opinions left and right. And that leaves the mind and the heart out of coherence, which I'm going to talk a little bit about in a few seconds. That being said, where we're having this constant barrage, and we know, which I'm sure you've heard many times before, that the screen time for the average US person, from a teenager all the way up to older person, is anywhere from between 5 and 9 hours per day, some even more, but we're talking about average of people spending that much time. And we do it for a variety of reasons, right? Sometimes we do it because of the fear of missing out, right? FOMO. Sometimes we do it because we're lonely and we're just seeking connection. We don't have anybody near us. Sometimes we just do it because we just need mood regulation. Yeah, mood regulation. There's a lull. And so we need a fix, a little dopamine fix that we get when we pick up our phones. Picking up our phones gives us a little jolt of expectation of something changing, something different. And that boosts the mind a little bit. So that mood regulation is great for its social validation, right? And sometimes just pure escapism, because we just are friggin' tired of it and we need to escape. And sometimes there's a time and a place for it, but it can get out of control and become addictive. And when that happens, we lose the connection with ourselves, our higher selves. The higher self is a part of who you are. It is innate. Everyone has it. And losing that higher self is a very high price to pay, and I will explain why. That voice is the voice that is the inner compass that guides us. And so think about this for a second. When you have a gut instinct, and your gut instinct says, do this, right? But your logical mind might say, no, do this. You follow your logical mind, but you find out your gut was right. That gut instinct is your higher self. Your higher self, whether you believe it or not, is really in control of your journey on this planet. It's orchestrating this life that you're living right now. You came here with a set objective of things that you needed to learn as a person, as a soul. And you are set to learn those things over the course of this life. And when you ignore that inner voice by too much of other people's voices getting in and not turning them off, you get off course in your life. And you want to not ever block out or impede that connection with the person who's running the ship, which is your higher self. So let's talk about this a little bit more. Distracting yourself is the worst thing you can do, like we said, from getting off course. And we distract ourselves in many ways, right? Not just through social media. There's a whole host of other ways we can distract ourselves. So making time for the most important relationship of our lives, for our own wise self, is imperative. Truthfully, really, it is. Okay? So I want to just talk about some of the ways that we can get back in touch with ourselves when we shut the videos off, when we close the books, when we have that time of silence for ourselves, which is extremely important. What are the ways in which we can get back in touch with that higher self and open up that connection again? You might think that this is very corny, but I think this is very important. One of the first things you can do is look at yourself in the mirror. Look into those eyes and appreciate all of the things about that person who has been with you through thick and thin. We give ourselves a hell of a lot of shit, and we have a lot of negative things to say about ourselves, but we don't take the time to truly appreciate the good things about ourselves, the ways in which we try to do the right thing every day, and just the beauty that's in our exteriors and our interiors. And believe me, there's a lot of kinds of beauty in this world. I'm not talking about the stereotypical Hollywood beauty. That's number one. Number two, another really important way to connect with your higher self is to journal. Journaling is taking all of those things that are bothering you inside, the things you really want to talk about, sometimes you can't talk to them about other people, and you put them on paper. You get them out. And when you do that, you ask your higher voice to talk to you back. And when you start to see what's coming out, when you're writing, I prefer handwriting, you can do it with your computer, your phone, however, but when you see that voice that starts to come out, and it sounds like you talking to your very best friend who you love dearly, you know that is your higher voice, giving you direction and keeping you on target. That's number two. Third way, meditation. Meditation, I know we hear about it all the time. People try it. Some people, are successful at staying good at it. Some people fall out of it. But meditation, what is so powerful about it is that it creates mind-heart coherence. And what does that mean? If we were to do an EKG right now on me or you would see the activity of your mind and you would see the activity of your heart. When they are in coherence and moving in the same direction at the same height and depth without any spikes, and they're moving in a coherent way together, you have coherence. And as a result, you have a calm inner being. When it is out of coherence, you have an ADHD mind that cannot concentrate and cannot emotionally regulate itself. It's of the utmost importance to do some form of meditation or something that is meditative to you. That could be drawing, it could be running. but it has to create mind-heart coherence. There's a type of meditation that I'm going to do a YouTube about that I think is easier than your average meditation. It's called FIT, F-I-T meditation. Look out for that. Subscribe, and that video will come to you. Okay? The fourth thing we can do is go out into nature. Trees, plants, the energy, the landscape itself gives off an energy. That energy is a solid, ancient energy that is calm and steady. Those rocks are calm and steady. We are a part of that energy. We are a part of all of the things on this planet. We are so interrelated. And when you go out into nature and you spend a couple of hours walking around, hiking, whatever it is, your mind and heart begins to regulate with the energy of the earth. It is so powerful. And people in the city, and I know this for a fact because I was born and bred in New York City, we don't get enough nature in New York City. I didn't even know that the energy that comes off of nature until I decided to fly to Arizona and hike to the bottom of the Grand Canyon. And it was there that I was completely shocked by the energy that you can feel in a canyon like that. So, get into whatever kind of nature you possibly can. If you live near a forest, if you live near an ocean, you are extremely lucky. Get into it, go into it, and ground yourself. The next way that you can get back in contact with your higher self is spiritual yoga. In the United States, yoga has been diluted into this form of physical exercise and stretching. That is not the intention that yoga had when it was created by the yogis thousands of years ago. Yoga actually means union with the self. And there is no better way, in my opinion, to get back in contact with who you are and your higher self than doing some spiritual yoga. And by spiritual yoga, I do not mean power yoga where you are powering through a series of way too many positions in an hour. I'm talking about holding a set number of positions for about 1 to 4 minutes at a time, breathing and getting into a meditative state the way the yogis did. It is extremely powerful. And I'm going to be doing a lot more videos on that kind of spiritual yoga so that you can get back in touch with your inner self who guides you. So my friends, I want to end with this by saying, now that I've reminded you of the importance of being your own best friend and honoring that higher part of yourself, I hope you don't forget that the captain of your ship and the one true voice you should listen to is your own. Take the steps to make sure you have that quiet time with that beautiful voice that is only yours. Namaste, my friends. I'm sending you much peace and love. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you want more encouragement of this kind. Thank you and have a great day.